Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered today to give respect to Congus, a beloved member of the PG broadcast. He gave his life doing what he loved most, making content. We are here to honor our fallen brother and somehow find a way to continue making content surrounding PG without him. May his soul finally find his rest day.
Man, can't believe he's gone.
I hear he was working on some banger content for amateur.
Wait, I thought he was making Academy content.
No, I heard he was making content for amateur.
No, heck you, it was Academy content.
Well, I guess this means war.
Oh no, it's happening again!
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just got back from LCS. What happened?
Hello and welcome everybody to the kickoff of Proving Grounds Summer 2022. It's been a long journey to get here, but we have finally begun. Play-ins are right around the corner, and I am honored to be your host for the day. You can call me Kangas, and joining me is the man stealing my wardrobe, it looks like. We got Beatdown Boulevard joining us from PGCQs.
Hey, I picked it first, that's all I'm going to say.
All right, and you know what? At least the color's a little different. I'll give you that. And different shades of blue. We also have the only man on broadcast that I 100% guarantee I would beat in a fight. Deseric's joining us on broadcast.
All right, you know, he stole your shirt. I stole your muscles, boy!
Bring it anytime. And also special guest. If you don't know this man, that means you have not done your research, because it doesn't take a lot to learn who this legend is. He's been a play-by-play caster. He's been a producer. He has managed teams from XT Esports, XTGA, TBA, Barrage, No Team, and most recently, Jake's Kittens. We have Elton XT Mock on the broadcast, blessing us with his presence.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is the play-ins. Everything matters. And I'm so excited to help kick off this amazing tournament with the rest of you guys today on the desk.
So happy to have you with us here, XT, and I'm happy you mentioned it. Hey, it's play-in, so let's take a look at the bracket to catch everybody up on what will happen today. Far left of your screen, if you direct your eyes over there, we have the roughest play-ins that you'll ever see in a bracket in your life, because it is a best of 3 single elimination to get into the double elim rest of the bracket. So you can see here, this is what the upper bracket will look like. There will be a lower bracket once you make it past this day, but that means that you have one best of 3 ahead of you, which is a pretty terrifying beatdown. If we look at a lot of the teams that have had a long season, and 4 teams, their season will end today.
Yeah, it is nerve-wracking at this point, because you do lack that cushion that making it to the main stage has. But, I mean, again, this is where it starts. If you really want to make a Proving Grounds run, you win today, you get yourself starting off in the upper bracket, and then you have that little bit of a buffer where it's like, okay, even if we drop a series, we can go.
And a little historical context, in the play-ins, which the same structure from Spring, if you watch Spring Proving Grounds, that shouldn't look too different. We only had a single amateur team win in the play-ins, which was Maryville.
Yep.
But let's before then actually talk about what Proving Grounds is. Give a little more definition for anybody tuning in. I know that we're on the LCS channel right now, so you might be like, hey, it's live. What's going on right now? This is Tier 2 Esports for League of Legends North America. That means that there are 20 teams in the semi-pro League of Legends circuit that will compete against each other to see who is the best developing talent in the region. Now, there are 10 academy teams. We have some collegiate teams. We have some amateur teams as well coming in, and the teams are seeded based on the academy regular season standings and points that were earned through the Proving Ground Circuit qualifiers. With that said, at the end of this entire month, That's right. It's an entire month tournament. We will know who the best team in Tier 2 League of Legends is. And hey, a lot of scouts, a lot of teams at the LCS level are looking at tournaments like this to decide, hey, who do we want to pick up to develop going forward, and who do we want on next year's LCS rosters? Especially in summer, XT, it feels like in spring we knew that there were stakes, but summer, the stakes feel so much more impactful because there's an off season right around the corner.
Oh, absolutely. After this tournament, you basically have you have September to December to really plan out what your next steps of your career is, right? So this is kind of the penultimate tournament. This is where, this is your last chance to shine, right? Because there isn't really another tournament on the scale after this, right? Academy's going to be taking that break. LCS is going to be taking a break. We have Worlds, right? And we have a lot of events. And not to mention, today is just do or die, right? Some of these teams, we have 8 teams coming in, 4 teams are basically making it out, right? So it's super important to really be able to perform today. Plus, it's like, last spring, right? You can always say, oh, we could just prepare for summer. We can always have another chance. Maybe the kind of team will pick me up, or maybe I just go to collegiate or have a different career path. No, this is it, right? You only have 4 months after this, right? To basically prepare yourself for the next season, right? You have to really, make this count. You have to make this opportunity count. The King is, like you said, there's so many people just watching this stream today. You don't want to miss a chance, and you want to leave everything on the floor here.
And as somebody who's managed teams in the past, I'm sure that you can speak to how impactful that is, especially to the amateur players that might not have a contract that goes for the next couple months to make sure that they still have a team, or at least could get traded to another team. For these amateur players, they are hungry coming into this event. And again, after today, we will be saying goodbye to 4 teams. But if you wanted a chance to interact a little bit more with Proving Grounds, we got you covered this summer split, because we heard from the community, a lot of people were asking for some sort of bracket where they could predict who makes it through the entire double elim and have points on the line, maybe a prize as well. And we are happy to announce that we will have that for this summer with the announcement of, now I'm forgetting, August Absurdity. That's the name that Kelsey came up with. August Absurdity is the name of our monthly bracket here for Proving Ground. This is the announcement. It is not live yet, but we will have a Reddit page live after all the series complete tonight, and we'll be tweeting that out on the Path to LCS Twitter account so that you can find it there. So make sure that you keep your eyes on Reddit, because that will have all the information going into the bracket if you want to put your reputation on the line and get into it. So I'm going to go down the line real quick. Beatdown. First impressions, who's taking it? Who do you have running the bracket all the way to the finals and taking the title?
It's super boring, but I honestly think it's probably going to be Team Liquid Academy, just because. All
right.
I mean, if you've been watching Academy this split, it's just even in games where it looks like they are falling behind and they are down on a lot of advantages versus their opponents, they manage to bring it back up. And it's something we say in amateur a lot about 100 Thieves Next, the team you'll definitely be seeing a lot of in this bracket, where you give them these little ways back into the game, and TLA will just take them. You can't make mistakes against that team.
Deathworks, do you have anything spicier? Because TLA is the most generic answer. Everybody knows TLA is good.
Yeah. TLA is pretty generic. I mean, I don't have the spiciest of answers. Mine is going to be Cloud9. I think they're going to be running it all the way to the finals and taking the entire thing. Yeah, that's straight up my pick right there. The way they've been performing, how much they've been improving week to week to week, especially with Shaden, who has been diversifying, they've been looking great.
Okay, I like it. That's a cool answer. Not the one that I was expecting, because I think 100 Thieves Academy would be a lot of people's second answer after Team Liquid Academy. XT, though, come on, no amateur representation. The first ever Proving Grounds in spring 2021 was won by an amateur team.
I'm going to be brutally honest, unfortunately. I think an Academy team is also going to be taking this one. And I'm also going to have to say, I'm surprised you guys are sleeping, besides King, I'm surprised you guys are sleeping on 100 Thieves Academy. They are the runner-ups of last month. They got a bone to pick, man. They have a lot going for them, and I'm sure the playoff buffs for 100 Thieves is going to be real. Not just for 100 Thieves Academy. I'm sure 100 Thieves Next has a lot to prove as well.
All right, let's just check first seed, second seed, third seed. All right, so no spicy answers then given for the predicted champion from our team.
All right, Golden Guardians.
But of course, you can always let us know yours with a bracket that you can find again at the end of the night tonight once all the teams are played out. But if you are just tuning in for the first time, you probably are not aware of a lot of these teams. But if you've been following Academy, maybe you have been following all of Amateur. So we have a special guest, Speedy Grapes, to catch you up on everything that you've missed.
Hey, Hey look, it's August 3rd, which means 10 amateur teams are about to face off against Academy in our 4th ever LCS Proving Grounds. All 10 of these teams went through a long, arduous, and overall pretty fun journey to get to this point. But if for some reason you weren't able to tune in, here's what you missed on the Summer Proving Ground Circuit qualifiers. 64 teams and over 200 players entered the PGA queues for their chance at the amateur crown. Seeding was meh, but then it got better. And we saw a ton of crazy games in both the open qualifiers. More on that later. 100 Thieves next came in as the expected top team, and even though they made some changes with 2 of their players getting promoted to Academy, Sniper still looked like the GOAT, and 100 next won their first tournament with ease. They would have won the second as well, but someone had something to say about that. Good job, Taco. Also, Rovik's Exposed show go live on air. AoE Esports actually had 2 teams qualify for Proving Grounds, but it's AoE, did you really expect anything less? AoE Main was one of the top teams the entire split with their early game aggression and buy support picks, but came just short of the finals in both of their runs. Looks like their first finals appearance will have to come in Proving Grounds. Meanwhile, AoE Ginger Turmeric brought some spice with some of the players on their roster. But their mentals remained strong, and they emerged as one of the best team-fighting teams in all of Amateur. The Cincinnati Fear put together a great roster with a lot of players from that Team No team that did really well in Spring. And even though they didn't know much about Cincinnati, they definitely knew a lot about Fear. I'm still having nightmares about Sketches Theory. Speaking of nightmare. Ooh, terrifying. Kitsuo, Raviov, and Chookies decided winning CLO was just a little bit too easy for them, so they had to stomp through PG instead. Those are the 6 teams in the upper bracket. Who's joining them in the Gulag? Well... Evil Genius's Prodigies revamped their entire roster around 2 exciting new rookies in Yukino and Nia, and even though they weren't able to crack top 8 in either tournament, they still look really scary and are sure to be a tough out for any team here in PG. Veteran prayed, and prayed, and prayed for CLG Faith to win. And at the beginning, his prayers weren't really answered very much. But Rosethorn and Trevor are back from Academy, and now CLG Faith are all of a sudden looking pretty good heading into Proving Grounds. Miles and Iconic are reunited, and AP looks like a literal god when he's on Victor this split, but Maryville actually found themselves eliminated rather quickly in both tournaments. That's alright though, because now Maryville get to play against TSM Academy. The last time these 2 teams faced off, it was an absolute banger. Get your popcorn ready, folks. Also, this team called DK Crew started the first OQ seated dead last, which was like crazy, but then somebody started a copy pasta, these 2 guys made a music video, and all of a sudden they're improving them. And then Slamma, baby. We also saw Wolverine Dio on Soraka, Nora came back, and then they didn't, and Veteran... What are you doing, man? Alright, whatever. And that's what you missed on PG.
I don't know, Districts, any information on who would have made a music video about DK Crew?
No idea, but you know, you might want to check the Academy stream in a little bit if you want to see the part 2 to that music video, because that's coming up, that's dropping today.
Ooh, I'm so sad that we don't get to actually watch that on this stream, but yes, that is a good reminder that we do have 2 streams going at the same time, so pull up twitch.tv/academy to catch the other games that will be happening today. But before we get into the schedule and all the games that will happen, Districts, I got another question for you. Do you remember, how did amateur teams fare against Academy teams in Spring Proving Grounds? Do you happen to remember the game win record?
Yeah, they didn't fare too well. Only 6 wins. To be fair, it's a pipeline. We had a really good start in Proving Grounds for amateur, but this is what's supposed to happen, right, Steve?
Okay, so if we're taken from the perspective of Academy teams, I think that's what they want to happen for sure. The teams with more resources, more scrim, more regulated regular season, many more games played just on average. It makes sense that Academy teams should be favored coming into this one, especially since orgs are signing those teams. But it got us thinking for this split, who is keeping the faith for amateur? Who predicts that they will actually get the same, if not more, wins, and who does not have any faith in amateur? And we actually polled everybody on the broadcast. So let's take a look at that so we can catch up on the current faith level for amateur coming into Proving Grounds. And hey, honestly, this is looking pretty good, guys. I don't know about you, XT, but I think everybody has a lot more faith in amateur this time around.
Yeah. Well, maybe there are some instances where I think there's a little less than idle or less than needed faith here on myself. But either way, Deathworks, you 2 under 6? Wait,
yeah, that's kind of messed up. That's kind of messed up.
All right, let's have Deathworks explain himself. Deathworks, what's going on there?
Okay. You saw what happened this last summer. Academy times have been pulling a lot of players out of amateur. It's what we want for the ecosystem, right? So it means a lot of those higher end prospects are not going to be here at those Proving Grounds fighting for amateur. They're going to be fighting for Academy or completely gone either other way. It's a situation that I think bodes very, very well for Academy and bodes well for the ecosystem.
All right, Beat Dad, I can see you're a man of culture, though, as we both have the same number. Explain why we're both right.
I mean, first of all, it's you and me, Kangas. Obviously, anything we say is correct just from the offset. But I guess, for others who may not know us or, less familiar with this concept, we're obviously correct because, one, I think Amateur is probably going to do just a little better than they did last time. And also, saying 7 wins is actually very contingent on our first match today. And I won't spoil.
Yeah.
We'll get into that one a little later. But I think that's why we'll see just a little better results than last split.
That's exactly what I was basing mine off of, because if last spring we saw 6 wins, this time around, in spring we actually only had 1 game win picked up by Amateur over Academy in the play-ins. It was just the Maryville win against TSM when they went 1 and 2 against them. I think that in play-ins alone, we're already going to get 2, maybe 3 wins for Amateur teams, depending on, the form that some of these Academy teams are coming into. So this is just to sort of set expectations for everybody watching, saying, hey, what's the power level difference between Academy and Amateur? What are people expecting? This is kind of to frame some of that. I think Smacks, if you asked him, especially Rafa as well, some of these numbers that are pushing more towards that double digits, it's the argument of, there are specific teams in Amateur that will 100%. Probably make deeper runs this summer than we saw in spring, where we didn't see any crack into the top 6. But with that said, that's our predictions. Let's bring it back to us, because I'm actually curious on XT. So I got to get his face on camera here. XT, are you putting your money on Amateur this summer?
So here's the thing, right? Last split, I think, was a pretty tough split. I'll just say, I think Amateur got a little outplayed. Academy teams were looking really, really strong, and I think there was a lot of factors coming into Proving Ground Spring that maybe were out of control. Scheduling was a bit of an interesting factor, as well as like dealing with a new patch. But here's what my prediction is: I think Amateur is walking away with 11, and why I think 11? I think we're looking at 4 series wins and 3 game 3s. And that brings us to a total of 11. I think Amateur teams this split have a lot more going for them. I think there's a clear play style that a lot of people are looking for. If yesterday was any example of it, Taco Gaming on 100 Thieves Next went the difference. And that was because of not only just hardcore, well-played games, but also there's a lot of innovation. And there's a lot of, I think, they got nothing to lose, man, right? What's the worst that can happen when you lose, right? You don't get scouted? Like, everyone's going to be watching this. Everyone should know that the world is against Amateur here, and we got all the floor in the world to prove everyone wrong here. So I think this summer is going to look pretty exciting, and this play-ins, you should be ready for it. You should be ready for play-ins. You should be ready for the whole tournament.
Yeah,
that is definitely a 5 out of 5 Peppers hot take, XT. That makes you the highest. So we pulled the broadcast talent that will be here throughout the month. But XT, as our guest, wanted us to have an excuse to bring him back at some point, I guess. XT, we got to bring you in now. If they get 11 wins, that guarantees you a return to the broadcast. Let's see how Amateur can try and pick up some of those wins as we look at the schedule going forward now, because we will have 2 best of 3s ahead of us on this stream. That's right. Twitch.tv/LCS has Evil Geniuses Prodigies starting up against Golden Guardians Academy. If you're confused why there's 2 EG logos, it's because they have an Amateur team as well as an Academy team. And that is actually CLG Faith, CLG's Amateur team, that is going up against Evil Geniuses Academy as our second series of the day. I know it can get a little confusing with just the team logos, but it is even cooler that a lot of the LCS organizations now actually have Amateur teams and are trying to invest into further developing of talent. So let's take a look at Stream B now. If you don't already, you should pull up twitch.tv/academy, where you will find Immortals versus DK Crew. I can hear Desert already starting to mumble the rap behind us. And I know that one's hype because Deserix is a big DK believer, but Maryville versus TSM back in spring, baby. That was the 1 win Amateur picked up against Academy in the play-in, so you want to check that one out as well. I always encourage everybody, if you got 2 monitors, pull it up on both, or you can split it to each monitor. You pull one up on your phone, pull one up on your monitor, whatever your setup. Make sure that you are supporting all of it. Deserix, okay, I know that you were holding it in, so now is your time to shell DK Crew if you want to.
DK Crew!
Okay, I feel good now. I feel good now. I'm excited for that.
I assumed you needed to get something out. I assumed that there was something being
Absolutely.
bottled up.
Absolutely. There's a lot bottled up, especially because I'm not on that broadcast. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love this desk. This is my dream desk right here. I got Beatdown, I got Kangas, I got XT. But man, I want to watch some DK.
I think that's why Kelsey didn't put you on that broadcast, because she knew that bias would be rampant and the show would probably collapse if DK won. So with that said, let's send it over and remind you where you can find all the updates of Proving Grounds going forward, as well as where you could have found all the updates from Academy and Amateur throughout the regular season. That is our Twitter account at @PathToLCS. Make sure to follow it. We got crazy content. We got all the schedules. We got the standings, as well as just hype for the scene in general. So make sure you're sharing your love with us in the broadcast by following that account. With that said, though, it's time. Let's get into the first matchup of the day, guys, because a best of 3 awaits us, and one team will be walking home afterwards. And I am, of course, talking about Evil Genius's Prodigies versus Golden Guardians Academy. The 7th seed from Amateur going up against the 10th seed from Academy. Now, let's start with Golden Guardians side. I want to introduce this roster. Desperate, I'll give you this one here. Talk to me. Sell me on Golden Guardians Academy. Even if they're 10th place from the Academy season, how do we feel about them right now?
So we're not feeling the best about them given the situations they've been in, specifically more with subs, right? You have a Blaze Olive who's now suddenly coming in to the mid lane, hustling into the support role. It's been a rough season for Poor Concept, Acadian, and Array to have all these switch-ups that's going on in the rosters. That being said, though, I do want to say, these are mechanically gifted players. Acadian has impacted a lot of early games very well for Golden Guardians. Array's positioning can be so fantastic when it comes to mid games. And Concept, his champion pool is one of the most fun things to watch. The draft of Nasus against Team Liquid is the one that sticks out in my mind right away. Golden Guardians, it's not the best situation to be in, but they still have some mechanical hands there to try and find themselves a way back in.
And we actually have proof of how many roster changes Golden Guardians, not just into Proving Grounds, but over the season, has gone through. XT, that's a lot of roster changes. If you look, this is all the way back to spring. So at the beginning of 2022, look at those 5 players. Not a single one is still on the roster here in the summer split. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see. Like, I think the biggest numbers here is like what you got your 4th unique mid laner here, you got your 3rd unique support, and you know, for Array, props to him. He's been dealing with a different support, I think, for quite a while now. Same thing for Acadian, where you know, mid jungle synergy is a thing. This is a 4th unique mid laner that he's going to play with, and really goes to show, like, you know, I think the biggest question in the room is like, can this core of players, Concept, Acadian, Array, you know, continue to streak that I think Golden Guardians is having? Because I think a lot of people were saying last week on Academy, with the lighter Prismal mat lineup, is like, man, this Golden Guardian team is not playing like the 10th seed. They are playing really well. I think a lot of cases are being made for Prismal being like one of the top supports coming into Academy, right? Because he's been having nothing but standout performances as well. It's like Lighter's starting to really, I think, get into the zone here in Academy, and now all of a sudden they're gone. We got Blaze Olive, and we got Hustling. Yeah.
It's crazy. And Beatdown, I know you and Kelsey were talking about, what was it, like almost assembling Exodia? We're close for the coaches subbing in.
That's right. We're 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5 roles, Golden Guardians have put coaches in there. So yeah, like Kelsey was saying, it is one off of Coach Exodia. The only thing they're missing is the top lane. But but yeah, so I think it's between Choose, Stixay, Acadian, and now Hustlin'. That's 4 out of 5 roles where they're
I'll get Concept to coach me.
Man, they're coming up clutch.
I'll get not Katie, Concept to coach me, and then there we go. We can have it right there.
There we go. Yeah. Then he is the coach. But look, I want to start the conversation about Golden Guardians Academy, or rather, I guess, continue the conversation about the player that has stayed consistent through summer split, and that is Array, a player that we wanted to highlight going into the split because he's, rookie appearance right now, has shown a lot of growth, especially like XQ was saying. 3 different supports, 4 different mid laners. It's kind of absurd how much change this guy has had to deal with. And you can even see that he used to watch Prismal stream 80 carry in 2018, had the opportunity to play with him, but now he's gone. Like, he's got to get used to another support again. And Desterix, when we look at a player like Array, honestly, I think it's just impressive that he's still showing improvement despite the circumstance that he's in.
Oh, he's been incredibly impressive. I mean, he's been impressive all year. We saw him on 100 Thieves Next. That's where he started off before he really got noticed and picked up into Academy. And even in Academy, despite how bad Golden Guardians have been doing, you see small mechanical outplays like this, where Array positions beautifully, gets into the right spot, right time, gets the damage on the spots he needs to, and gets an outplay. Ray has great hands. That's what I want to say right now. He has great hands, but the thing is, he's always been more of a mid-game to late-game team fighter. He relies on a front line to really set up for him. In this case, we're seeing a different level of growth because look at this play right here. Golden Guardians, you're seeing Array. He doesn't need a front line. Suddenly, he's the one being the flanker there. He's developing much more of a killer instinct since his debut into Academy, and you absolutely got to love to see it.
And I'll add the caveat that a lot of his most aggressive plays were when Prismal was getting more comfortable with the support role.
Yeah.
So my magnifying glass will be on Array this time. How's he going to look with Hustling? Well, what's the synergy like between those two? Because you have a brand new support coming into Proving Grounds. That's it's pretty tough position to be in. But if he still shows the same level of aggression and trust in his team, I got high expectations and hopes for Array. Opposite on the ref, though, Evil Genius's Prodigies beatdown. I'd love for you to intro in this roster. What can you tell us about the amateur org coming from Evil Geniuses?
I mean, first of all, EGP as an org has done a great job, I think, in amateur. It's like them along with 100 Thieves Next, who have been just finding the best players and usually forming some of the strongest teams we see over in AM. And talking about this latest iteration of Evil Genius Prodigies, I could talk about all of these players. If you were watching the Grapes video we aired earlier on, Yukino and Mia were mentioned as two rookies, no competitive experience before this. Yukino was a sub on No Org, of course, but he never actually played. And Yukino was one of the players that we looked at a lot this split in amateur because as soon as he joined in, he's a very young player, I think 16 or 17, but he was showing us a lot of impressive plays and was really popping off, especially during the earlier to mid parts of the split.
And XC, I'd love to get your insight here because you've been a player manager for many different rosters in the past. What's it like working with these super young players that come in, have very little competitive experience, and it's your job partially to get everybody on the same page and ready for a big tournament like this?
That's the Yukino scout right there. I just want to put that
out. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I wasn't really one of the people. I think the team did a great job of like bringing him in when we brought him into No Team, and Yukino is he's very active in wanting to improve, right? One of the things he instantly did was like, as soon as he got access to Champions Queue, he was spamming that right back and forth, right? And I even think you got to see some of his clips on YouTube and Reddit where he was with Shenny at the time, where they had a lot of Champion Queue memories as well. You know, he's very fun, he's very energetic, and he's very motivated. And when you have young players like Yukino or maybe like Griffin, who was previously on Nororic before Proving Grounds, right? A lot of the times, what they want to do is that they will want to play the game the way they want to play, and it's up to them to kind of just learn from everyone else and like what are your limits, what's possible, what's not possible, and also help them kind of understand like what it's like to be in a competitive environment, especially in Proving Grounds where it's extremely high stress. Pretty much 90% of the games you get to play in amateur are usually elimination, right? You either get dropped to the lower bracket or you're just gone for the tournament. So it's super high stress, but when you get players like Yukino who's super active and willing to try out any picks that he wants and really just perform whenever he gets a chance on EG Prodigies, like this is someone you want to see on your roster because you get really motivated as well. You want to be able to try your best, especially someone like Yukino.
Beatdown, what are the odds we see a Rengar out of Yukino? Yeah, give it to me right now. Be honest.
You want me to be honest? I think the odds are pretty low. I don't think Rengar is the pick right now. I'm not
the player
gonna lie.
card got me excited.
Yeah, I know it was such a cool skin and everything, but I think it is interesting. We could see it come through because you're even seeing it in the clips here where Yukino will play some interesting stuff. Like this is Talon Jungle in the most recent qualifying tournament, and he's pretty good.
I'm not gonna lie, Deserix, I'm sure that you feel the same way about some champs. I forget Talon exists. He's played so little in professional play or in academy. Do you have any champions? Like I literally saw him. I was like, "What's that guy's name again?" Damn, I forgot.
You know, sometimes for me it's Lilia, Nico. I mix those two up. I'm sorry.
Plays Lilia too.
Yeah, these plays were hurting me a little bit because some of those earlier ones were DK crew after all that hype, but.
Sorry, buddy.
It's all right.
Either way, Yukino's champ pool is exciting, right? I think that's the moral of the story, right, Beatdown?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and the thing is, he plays a lot of the standard stuff. Like, so of course, we have the spicy picks, things you don't see often, like the Lilia and the Talon, like we were just talking about. But he'll play things like the Poppy, like we saw in the recent clip. He plays a lot of Udyr if it's up and available. That was especially great on the last couple of patches.
Yukino is a player that we want to highlight from Evil Genius's Prodigies. And I think, honestly, every player you could make an argument for. Evil Genius Prodigies are an exciting team to follow, very young team to follow. And with that in mind, Yukino is the one that we're focusing on, but Concept over on Golden Guardians Academy also had his own opinions of Yukino as a player, since he knew that they were their first-round opponents, as well as the rest of the amateur landscape and his opinions on that. So let's hear from Concept.
Weak for sure. You know, I think it's been weak probably for the past year or so, but I would say that like more in the more recent years that or like especially within the past year that a lot of teams definitely want to like revamp their rosters. I think that, you know, people are interested in a lot more younger players, like people like what like EG has done, for example, and like finding good talent. Like people are like fans are really excited about that. So I think as a result, the amateur pool has become a little dry, but you know, there's some good players here and there. I mean, like we're facing I think EGP coming up, and you know, I think their jungler is pretty good.
All right, he's recognizing the competition, Eric.
Recognizing, he said things are looking a little bit weak. Did you hear Did you hear part of that? We've taken a lot of that poll. There are some good players there in the top poll. Don't get me wrong, but that was kind of opinion all across the board for a lot of academy players that amateur is looking weak this year.
All right, maybe some players that saying that to Concept, but he's not impressed with the field overall. Well, let's see if Evil Genius Prodigies can bring it to Golden Guardians Academy, because we are ready for pick and ban of game number 1. With that said, I'm going to pass it over to Desterix and Beatdown on the call.
All right, thank you, Kangas, and we are ready, Beatdown. Are you ready? It's a practice cast. Don't worry, don't worry, no pressure, no pressure.
You're right. I was gonna say that too. On God, I was like, what if I just bring it up? And it's true. And then for those who don't know, you know, us casters in the scene overall, we practice, of course, from time to time. Got to keep the skills sharp, things like that. Desterix and I, nah, never that. Only live, baby.
We've been trying to do a practice cast for so long, and we keep getting in, we keep ending. We cast here. We cast here. That's how it comes down to. Now we got Golden Guardians Academy versus Evil Geniuses Prodigies. Now, personally for me, this is one of the best chances I feel for amateur. EGP, it's a pretty tough squad. I'm pretty sure you can speak more to that than me.
Yeah, they are. And the thing is, too, so there's a couple of things here. We talked a lot about Golden Guardians and the roster changes that have been coming through and how that's likely going to impact their performance on the day going forward as well, assuming they manage to beat EGP here and now. And I think this is why I was saying with Kangas earlier on when it was the 4 of us, that this is where I think 2 of the amateur wins are going to come from, because I actually think EGP has a good shot winning this series, even though they've been slumping towards the end of that last PGCQ. Fact is, the really fast turnover between patches actually gave their early exit kind of some value, with the fact that they've had more time to work on 12-14 and to have more of an idea on how they want to play the game on this patch.
Now, one of the matchups that I find interesting in particular is going to be Faisal and Yukino versus Concept and Acadian. As already the first pick does come out from Golden Guardian side, just going to grab that Wukong. Easy one to default to, plays so well. Acadian works well on it as well, as EGP are just hovering the Talia for now. And yeah, Talia, very strong pick to have. Has a good pick potential, also great wave clear on top of that. Getting back into that matchup though. Yukino and Faisal, they have been definitely heroes for EGP. Going into Concept and Acadian though, despite all the sub-squads that we've had out of GGA, this is the 2 spots that have stayed rather consistent for GGA. So this is sure to be a matchup right here, as we have pre-established synergies between the top side of the map.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I like that too, because you're right. Yukino and Faisal are players we highlight a lot. Faisal being a particularly skilled player who a lot of us in the amateur scene are really high on. He's shown us a lot of good performances and continues to improve even while on EGP. Yukino as well, being the young gun that we talked about, also makes this top matchup even more exciting. Just the fact that, you know, you have the younger, less experienced players against Concept and Acadian who've had some time in Academy. And we're already seeing the draft start to kind of shake up here, and it seems like GGA keeping pretty consistent with the early Jax pick. I've seen that a lot since I've been watching them at Academy.
Yeah, it throws me off a little bit sometimes, because Tony Top was subbing for the squad for a while,
right?
And that was his default. He just goes for Jax, so it's like, wait a second, that's Concept in the top side. But yeah, Jax, still champion he plays, definitely within his pool as well. Blaze Olive with the Ahri. Take a look how this is going. All right, going for some side lane control, but the team fight bounce back is pretty strong from EGP.
100%. And I kind of was wondering if this was going to be a jungle Talia, because she's honestly very good in the jungle since he got her mini rework. And the fact that she just spikes really hard at level 9 and when she gets that first mythic, and your ability to make plays with that Weaver's Wall, really nice. And you get that really strong mid-jungle duo, really able to skirmish even a little bit earlier because of the Yone. And once you get to that level 6, these two are going to be quite a problem to deal with.
And it's a pretty big playmaking champion, which personally gets me excited. Doxa on a playmaking champion is always hyped to see. You know, Doxa is someone who is a CLL champion back from last year when he was on Winthrop, something I never shut up about. But ever since we've had him in this latest split, a little bit of a simmer from Doxa. We haven't seen the biggest plays in the latest meta, because the latest meta has been pushing him towards picks like Seraphine. When I see Yone, when I see Doxa on Yone, that's when I start to get excited for old Doxa again.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we used to call it, we often called it Doxadiff when he's able to pop off, and when he was playing really well back in CLOL. So we're going to see if he's able to if he's going to be able to live up to that and continue showing us what we're usually expecting from him here. I think overall, both of these drafts, especially on Golden Guardian sides, is pretty interesting. There is, especially the fact that you have the Wukong and the Jax coming through here. I mean, you have a lot of skirmishing power on the top side, the pairing you were highlighting earlier, Deserex, but I'm wondering if it's reversed too, because Concept very well known for the Wukong top, and especially because he's Wukong was nerfed a little bit on 12-14. I'm interested to see where it's actually going to go.
That's true, right? You never really know what Concept's going to grab. You know,
that's
someone from Amateur that you're very familiar with, Alorum. Concept and Alorum are very similar in that regards, as they have these very, very wild, tanky, oddball champion pools. As we are having a hover, hold your breath, beatdown, hold your breath. It's just hover, hold it. So you're holding, okay. We're still waiting. We've got 8 seconds on the clock before we see this bot lane getting locked in. Taking a look at what's been bound away so far. I mean, Kalista not going to be on the map. You can finally let it out. It's just going to be Jinx.
Okay, I don't think Samira is very good, so I think that's fine. It would have been fun, though. I know Mia plays that one a lot. This one is making a lot more sense here, especially because of the fact that Zeri received some nerfs. Kalista, a really popular AD carry and center, are taking off the boards here. So you need some of that late game firepower is what EG Prodigies are looking towards here with that Jinx. And I think the only thing missing on this comp is that support, where you get some engage going through here. Nautilus is out of the picture. No Tahm Kench either. We could see the Thresh, but I think I need to see a dive buddy going through here with Doxa on the Yone, and on the other end, seeing Ray pick the Aphelios kind of takes me back to just 12.3, you know what I mean? Where it was just Jinx Aphelios, handshake all day long. It's like Zeri doesn't exist.
Yeah, people would just blind Aphelios. Why not?
All the time.
You know what they're going to grab. They're going to grab Jinx, so why not just blind Aphelios?
Exactly.
Now, you need some peel for Aphelios to make sure he's going to survive into that late game, and Braum is traditional to go in that aspect, one of the best peelers in the game, so going to make sure to keep Array safe in that bottom lane.
Yeah, we talked about how important it was for Array to be able to find success in these games, especially with the roster issues that GGA are going through. Array being one of the 3 players who are still solid and consistent on this team throughout most, if not all, the year, with the exception of Acadian. So it means that kind of setting this up so that you have a good early skirmishing mid-jungle duo, the Wukong and the Ahri, you basically set up the map so that Array will, for the most part, have enough time to scale up. You do get that early bot push into Jinx as well. So it means that you have a lot of room to make plays as Acadian, who would now know is going to be blocking the Wukong.
Now, looking at EGP's composition, there is a lot of teamfight potential. There's a lot of pick potential on top of that. You know, whenever you have that Rakan locked in, those engage tools are massive to have, but in the hands of Dawnbray, someone who I think has been a standout support for going for more of these aggressive plays and engages, and especially making sure to protect Mia in a lot of these situations.
Right, and I love that too, and I love that you're highlighting Dawnbray because of the fact that, I mean, he's been around the amateur scene for a good bit too, and I think this year, especially when he subbed for 100 Thieves Next back in spring for a little bit while they had some things that they were sorting out, I thought he was playing wonderfully. It was a lot of Nautilus, but on the engaged support, you put this guy on, he would find the angles, and that's how this comp is really going to work here. Dawnbray is the key setup. You have other champs who can rush in and follow up, like the Yone, like the Talia, like the Gwen, but it really all hinges on Dawnbray and how well he's going to be able to find these flanks, find these engages, so these team fights can go the way EGP wants.
All right, our first match of Proving Grounds is now ready. Loading into the Rift, Golden Guardians Academy versus Evil Geniuses Prodigy. And that's going to begin right now. EGP coming straight out of Amateur. Not the best season that they had, despite expectations being a little bit higher onto them. All that being said, though, they are going against a team that has been struggling throughout the regular season in Academy, so I do think this is a game that is probably most likely to get to game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, I have a spicy take on that, but we're gonna save that one until it's the 4 of us. Okay?
No. You can't just tease that.
Of course I can. That's what I'm here for. Casting, building suspense, things like that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna guess that you're saying 2-0 EGP.
Man, it's not fun when you guess it, but yeah, that's my prediction.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Have that faith in Amateur. Gotta love what's going on within the season and the pipeline as a whole. As a little attempt of an invade right here. Just going to be spotted out by Blaze Olive, but not too much in terms of shenanigans.
Yeah, no Summoner's Blow, nothing really happening. You just force a Blaze Olive to start the W, and that's no big deal. I think just right off the bat, only really thing I noticed that's interesting here, and it is worth noting again, we're on 12-14. This is the first look for either Amateur or Academy on this patch, and I mean, one thing we know for sure in terms of summoner spells, Exhaust got nerfed, and already we're seeing things switch up in the bot lane. Mia is running the Ghost. So in these skirmishes, in these team fights later on, it's going to allow her to be able to get to fight sooner, kite things out a little bit better, and that's what I'm looking for from Mia later in the game.
Oh, that's going to be so frustrating. The moment Mia gets excited, and she has Ghost up, like, try catching a Jinx right there. As this Jinx is already trying to gun down. Dawnbray taking a little bit of aggression. Kind of the norm as what we've been seeing for a lot of bot lanes, just fighting it out in the very early stages of these waves.
Yeah, and I'd love to see it. I mean, it's usually Aphelios Braum is kind of what you expect to get the better of it, especially with, Mia now has to go flash for flash, which is something, actually, flash and Ghost were expended now in these last couple of seconds here. So that's an opening there for Acadian. Of course, path towards the top side, but on recall, you have a couple minutes to be able to punish.
Yeah, that is brutal. That all came from Dawnbray, forced to recall after the small skirmish earlier.
Yep.
So, brilliant punish coming out from Golden Guardian's Array. Really still showing the smarts over there to make sure he punishes Mia and make sure that she's not going to be the biggest impact on this. Jinx. Going to have a hard time in this lane, but look at what's going on over here. Acadian looking for an invade, playing off that priority of a Blaze Olive.
Ooh, I like that one a lot. You can get onto Yukino, and it's looking like here's the 1v1.
Ooh, a red buff, the slows. Oh,
okay.
Wrong direction for Acadian. Yukino will be safe.
Yep, Faisal likely just going to walk back now, and I think Yukino's just going to have to accept that that red buff doesn't belong to him. A Blaze Olive has Doxa pushed in right now. You can see the trading, for the most part, going pretty evenly, but that means that Acadian has this ability to go for this. This is what we were highlighting in Champ Select. Acadian's going to have a lot of opportunity to be able to threaten Yukino in these early minutes of the game, and the best bet for EGP is to just minimize those kinds of losses.
Ooh, and they're going to go after one of those power points of EGP, making a dive into the top lane against Faisal. Concept runs too low, though. Faisal still alive. Tower dive so far unsuccessful. Faisal standing tall. Now another engage goes in. The Goomba Stomp going to be found. One more turret shot goes out, and Acadian goes down.
That was nice. Faisal making use of the Ignite. Is going to lose a good chunk of that wave, but has the TP to catch the tail end of it. I think with all that and the fact that both Concept and Acadian flash, you're happy with that one if you're EGP. Faisal did get some of that extra gold, did get Acadian off the map for a little bit, which means Dawnbray can do this.
See, that's what I was talking about. These are the type of plays that Dawnbray likes to do. Of course, this is the more tame version of that. Let's take another look at what was going on over here, because Faisal held out really well for that first barrage.
Yeah, and it's things like the Hallowed Mist giving you those extra resistances, the fact that the turrets after the last couple of patches do extra damage. It just means that once the Ignite comes through, you have to be really concerned as Concept about whether or not you're going to lose your life. And although you want to try and force the DP, you do want to get them out. The health bars were too low, and the trade was the best Golden Guardians could have hoped for.
Now, I do want to ask you, who does this benefit in the long run the most? Give Jax a kill. He does really well on side lanes, can be an absolute split push menace. Faisal on the Gwen. You get a lot of splash damage if you are able to flank a lot of these team fights. How are you feeling about that, Beat?
So I think this is fine, particularly because if we talk about inside, Jax usually wins pretty often, but into Gwen, more often than not, you see a lot of Ignite TP, but Concept actually went for the flash. And I think that Ignite not being there to kind of deny some of the healing Faisal is going to get as he builds items later on kind of tips that side lane matchup, in my opinion, into Faisal's favor. And I think that is going to be really important for those 1v1s in the mid to late game. And of course, it's going to make Faisal feel a little bit better about getting in there in these team fights, because you only have one Ignite to worry about, and that's a Blazed Olive.
But here's the struggle right now. Concept doing a freeze over on that top lane. Faisal's going to have to get through that before he gets into at least the promised land of Jack's play. Now, I want to put the attention towards the junglers and where they're pathing at. Yukino is taking a topside path, while Acadian headed towards his bot end, where he does have some priority and some power points to play around. So first Drake should be established quite easily by Golden Guardians. Yeah, not much of a response to come out of EGP.
Yeah, and I think that's the wise decision. Like, it's like we were talking about EGP, not as much early pressure, and going for the early dragon, especially now on this patch, all the dragons have more health than before, is just something you don't want to be really messing around with unless you can sneak it very quickly, and that's not an option. So instead, Yukino goes top, could look to help deal with the wave if Faisal is in trouble, but actually, since it's slow pushing towards Faisal, it's going to be a point where Concept has to decide back or try and risk it. And with Yukino in the area, I like that he's deciding to back.
You said this is getting a little bit on the rough side. Yukino's starting to fall behind in EXP. Will ding on the next camp, but there's no camp there. This entire top side is completely clear. So, that is a rough recall for Yukino.
Yeah, a little bit. You do force the teleport out of Concept because he has to respect the fact that the wave is pushing away from him and everything like that. But you were hoping to get a little bit more. Like I was talking about with EGP overall, especially in the earlier parts of the game, it's just minimizing losses. Right now, you're down 600 gold. I mean, if we're looking across the board, CS numbers aren't too different. The only one who's kind of really hurting right now is Mia. So I think things are not too bad for EGP at the moment here. I'm keeping my eyes out for the Rift Herald fight that is coming up pretty soon here in a few seconds, or at least the Rift Herald is spawning pretty soon, and I want to see what the supports are going to do. Are we going to have the move up? Is EGP going to just concede that early objective also?
And keep in mind, we are on 12.14, correct?
Yes.
I want to double check. I mix up my numbers sometimes. So Rift Herald has been changed onto this one, does give 200 local gold to the team that kills it.
That's true too. So you do get a little extra benefit from taking it down on top of because it used to be like 25 gold and a good bit of XP. Now it's 200, which I think is kind of nice. But at the end of the day, I think contesting for this Rift Herald is something EGP may want to do, just because it will, getting it on Golden Guardian's side, they set up a successful dive, whether it's top, mid, something like that, and they end up breaking a turret. That can start a snowball EGP might not be able to deal with.
My curiosity will be second Rift Herald. That's the one that did get changed to be a lot more beefy. So I want to see how teams are going to play around that. If they want to focus that a little bit more, fight around that position. Yukino wants a challenge for this first Herald. A Blazed Olive Acadian starting it up, but EGP are quickly trying to set up a flank. Already jumping in is going to be Concept onto Faisal. Faisal backs off. No teamfight dedicated yet. Hustlin gets caught out between three. EGP gonna quickly collapse onto him, but Hustlin flashes over the wall. Doxa missing the ultimate, but will still finish up the kill. And now going for the steal will be EGP. Teamfight gonna break out. Acadian using the Cyclone to back off, but far too low is gonna be Faisal. He will get dropped as Donbray now joins the fight. Level 6 comes in with the ultimate and gets the lockdown to give Doxa the kill. EGP winning the fight on the back end of that, but all things considered, Golden Guardians still get the Rift Herald.
Yeah, it is a bit of an overcommitment onto Hustle. He's not level 6. You force him to flash over the wall. Hold on to that Yone ultimate, but I'm going to hold on to that Fox. Acadian's in trouble.
Yeah, Acadian doesn't have Cyclone. Had to flash over the wall, but he will drop Yukino, grabbing another kill. Already 9 minutes into this, being impactful in 3 of the kills for EGP.
Yeah, I mean, the fight didn't go perfectly for EGP, and actually we're going to take a look at it right now. I love the catch out onto Hustlin, but the thing with Yone's E, that Soul Unbound, you see the mark over Hustlin. As soon as you go back, extra damage comes through. The kill was basically done and dusted there, and in the process, because the Herald was about to go down, Yukino and Faisal, they do their best in the 2v3, and it wasn't quite enough.
Look.
The saving grace, though, it's Dawnbreak. Ticking level 6, using the battle dance and the flash into that grand entrance is kind of what saves the day there. That means EGP, they've gotten some gold in their pocket, kills on the right people. So even though losing the Herald is unlucky, if they can neutralize the Herald play and prevent it from getting a first brick, it's not that bad.
Producers, I kind of want a replay of that one more time, but a Blaze Olive to be the focus of that replay. And the reason for this is the tunnel vision that came out of EGP in that play. No one was there to take the Rift Herald. A Blaze Olive just walked up and grabbed it and walked away while EGP were engaging on everyone else.
Yeah, and originally Yukino was standing there trying to stall, see if they can get the eye to collapse so that nobody picks it up, but they weren't able to really get it done. I think that's the best case scenario, actually, that it's sitting on a Blazed Olive, because if you can keep him in lane, then you won't be able to move it to the bot lane, for example, where Array is always already finding some of these advantages. If you drop that Herald bot and found the opportunity for that first brick, then I think GG will find themselves in a really good position in this game. As I say it, a Blaze Olive immediately taking the roam to be able to get it done, just to drop the Herald, I think, and walk away. And look at Array. He's all by himself. That's a nice bit of gold shared between the two of them there, Desrex. And this Aphelios, who already has the Mythic, well, he's getting a nice chunk of change into his pocket again.
Aphelios doesn't need kills in the early game. He just needs money in some way, shape, or form. If you're able to funnel that in, you get the win condition for Aphelios rolling. So putting that Rift Herald into the bottom lane, making sure that Array was going to be a recipient of that turret. Big move to come out. Now EGP trying to find a move of their own, beatdown.
I love that so many people are committed to this play, too. Concept, I'm sorry, buddy. You're going down.
Yeah, unlucky. There's 4 around you, and Counter-Strike can't block spells. You will drop off of that very, very vicious play coming out from EGP on that top side. It's going to result in a response coming out from GGA. They will get the Drake. Second Drake, Ocean.
That's a big heads-up play, though, Eric, because the thing is, as soon as that Herald gets dropped off by a Blazed Olive, you know you can't do anything about the dragon that's spawning. You just have to let that turret go down, allow Mia to walk down to her tier 2, and just collect whatever gold she can. Instead, you make the dive top. You get Faisal, who's scaling up really well on this Gwen. Plate gold. I think that's the best you could hope for there.
Blaze Olive with the fancy feet. Nice charm coming out from Olive. Will outplay EGP. Not getting caught today and even jumps right back in to try and finish off Doc's ballsy play coming out from Olive. But this is an experienced player. Been on Golden Guardians before despite subbing in. And showing that experience right now. Acadian going to continue the onslaught onto Yukino. Yukino trying to get out of this. We'll put down the earth as Don Bray hops in to try and defend Yukino. But the charm coming out from Olive lands right on the mark. Acadian's going to drop as the Death Rocket onto Olive. Now, Olive trying to back out, does have Hustlin to provide some defense. Mr. President will be okay.
Yeah, and that Faisal showing up there at the last second did manage to at least go 1-for-1 in that one. But honestly, nice play from Blaze Olive to be able to make that one happen. Yeah, player, the good amount of LCS experience, Eric. And he's showing that there in fights like these. Acadian finds the angle here onto Yukino. Again, with all this pressure bot side, Yukino is easy pickings for the most part, but the rest of the team is there to help. And even though, all right, Blaze, okay, that was pretty fancy. Even though that came through, Eric, yeah, Faisal was able to at least get a kill back.
Absolutely fancy right there. Blaze Olive, as we said, an experienced player. Played on Golden Guardians Academy before. Was there back in the 2020 season. Now, been a long part of the roster of Golden Guardians, actually. It was 2020 season, he was in Academy. That's where it was, so... you know, lots of experience, especially having that stage time, but no stress coming out for Blaze Olive in these very, very composed plays.
No, and it shows in how he's been playing so far here. And the thing we want to look forward to now, we have Second Herald coming up soon with that rotation from Golden Guardian's bot lane towards this top side of the map, and the fact that Acadian is making his way top side, you got to imagine that's a big focus there for Golden Guardians Academy. And that's because you get that Herald, it's going to last in your inventory long enough for that next dragon. And now, what are we looking at, Eric? An Infernal Soul, and it's one more for GG to get their soul point already, which would be at around the 17-minute mark. I think that's why GG putting all their focus towards this top side. You have concept bottom, of course, with teleport if something goes wrong. But I like this move from Golden Guardians. It's exactly what they need to do.
It sets up a great win condition in a fight that fights really... in a team composition that fights really well in the late game. It sets up a really good late game win condition. I like that for Golden Guardians. They still have to keep up the momentum, though. They've only just tied the gold. EGP are still in a position where it feels like they're ahead. Yukino, been more active on the map. and still has that point that Yukino has just hit level 9. So that's a point where Talia really starts to come online. You're just going to get boulders for days, rocks coming right into your face. This is where EGP are looking to challenge. Yukino backs off before the charm hits.
Yeah, Donbray with a little bit of trouble here. If EGP are going to make a move, it's now or never, Eric, and you see them closing in.
Yukino's going in, trying to get the steal. Secured on the side of Golden Guardians, but EGP are still going to go for the Faisal. Able to take down Hustlin. A double kill acquired as Faisal will be the recipient of those kills, will be the recipient of that gold. The Golden Guardians, again, they go in for the Herald and they secure it. Now Yukino gets hit by the Cyclone, but Acadian just trying to get EGP out of his jungle.
Right, Acadian says, listen, you won the fight, but these are still my camps. But really big play from EGP to be able to at least pick up some kills, but they lost the objective. And that means come Dragon Time in about a minute, Eric, that mid-tier 1 turret is going to be under a lot of threat on EGP's side. So how are they going to be able to deal with this one? This Dragon, it would be really dangerous for them to let it through. But we're going to see the replay on how this one went down. Concept immediately jumps on Donbray, who's looking for the flank that he really needs to find on this champion. And because he's doing such a good job of zoning Mia and Donbray, EGP, they don't get the fight that they actually want. Yukino has to go for the 50-50, and it didn't even look like he had that opportunity. So again, double kill for Faisal. We like that. But losing this Herald with Dragon Soul Point on the line for Golden Guardians Academy, I like that a little less.
Twin Divine Sunders will be completed for Golden Guardians. When I look at that, I'm looking at a bonk duo. If Acadian and Concept are able to converge onto Mia, that's a lot of damage just off of one simple spell, one simple item. Can really look to burst down and take down this Jinx before we get to that point where this Jinx is going to be devastating. And I'm still looking at teamfight tools, right? Glacial Fissure, Cyclone. Yep. Great utility to have for these team fights. Especially considering you have a lot of backline dive with this Ahri picked up by Blaze Olive. You want to get onto Mia, you want to get onto Yukino, you want to get control of this game.
Right, and again, Mia running Ghost, not Exhaust or Cleanse means that if Charm hits you, you're in a lot of trouble, Eric. An interesting play from Golden Guardians. Instead of using the Herald in the mid lane, they have a lot of characters who are spiking at the moment here. They use that Herald instead to be able to hard push the top wave, threaten that tier 2, and then shift that priority mid and then to the bottom side of the map. The only thing that Faisal has that bot wave pushed in pretty deep. This gives him a flank angle.
Ooh, Everfrost lands flush onto Donbray. Array grabs the first kill. Getting right on out, it's going to be Doxa. Uses his ultimate to grab some ground, but a Blaze Olive chases him down. Flash going to be burnt both ways. It's only one falling. Donbray, primary engaged down for EGP, but that is what Golden Guardians need to secure the Drake.
And what a great fight it was. They get the kills they need, and the fact is, it was just Donbray. No engage means Golden Guardians Academy get the Infernal Soul Point. An insane boon is what this Dragon Soul would be. Golden Guardians well on their way to a very powerful buff and a potential game 1 win.
The gold dead even, but it's definitely not going to feel like that when you see these fights unfolding.
Right, and you don't see it here, but the biggest thing about this fight is that Golden Guardians, they know Faisal was just on the bot wave, and they know that now is their best opportunity to get that 5v4 that they would so happily love to take, Eric. And that setup, that call in the split second there was the biggest part of why that worked.
Okay, this is what I like about EGP. Even when they have situations where they fall behind, where they lose a team fight, or drop structures, they're still active on the map. Look at what we're seeing. Yukino, Donbray, roaming towards that topside jungle of Acadian. Deep wards being placed, really playing with that pressure, and they're still getting structures.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the decisions that EGP are trying to make here. Even whenever they lose something, they try to minimize the loss as much as they can by taking something in the interim. Even though GGA are doing a pretty good job at trying to keep EGP back, EGP, they always get something in return here. And now, I mean, if we look, EGP have the gold lead right now, Eric. And if you look at Faisal, 2 items now on the Gwen, 5, 2, and 1 is in a very powerful position. So if he gets on to Array, if he gets on to someone like Acadia, whoever, they're going to get cut down.
I'm a little bit curious. I want to see the last time that Faisal and Concept have gone at it. I wouldn't be too surprised if it was Concept of X back then. But we'll take a little peek onto that later when we have some time. As Acadian now going for the engage onto Doxa. Double Cyclone will find that double knock up, and all by himself he will take down Doxa.
Nice and easy 1v1 there. Doxa tries to run, but he isn't able to do so. And now you can just try and snag whatever jungle camps you want from the top side of Yukino's jungle. You can see it, Donbray, he's fighting for vision, and EGP have some decent deep vision into GGA's top jungle, but they're getting pushed back right now.
A little bit of a bush trap set right here, but Hustlin's not going to fall for its seismic shove. So close to catching Hustlin. Would have been devastating, but Golden Guardians playing the map well. They fight back the vision that EGP had placed. Now deep into their jungle, rotating around this top and mid. All meanwhile, Concept split pushes bottom.
And this bot top focus is really good. The Herald from earlier allows them to very easily knock down this dragon. A Blaze Olive, I mean, he's taking damage. He still has the Spirit Rush though, so realistically, now as an Ahri with ultimate up, you're feeling pretty safe about walking up to the enemy. And the thing that's so important about this is that now Golden Guardians, they have their pick of the litter in terms of neutral objectives. They're in a strong position after the last couple of fights they've won. They are reaching very key item spikes, and with that Dragon Soul coming in 2 minutes, they don't necessarily have to go for the Dragon. You see them setting up all this top pressure because they want to make it so that Baron can be an option for them, and realistically, EGP, they have to try and set up for this Dragon, and that could give GGA the opportunity for the first Baron.
Yeah, this is not the position you want to be in if you are EGP, because now you're dancing to Golden Guardians' tune. Golden Guardians make a play towards Baron, and you try and match it. Well, they're pretty much pulling you across the map. They can do the same thing into Drake, and if you dedicate to one, they will take the other. So Golden Guardians, this very, very calculated neutral setup that they have, grabbing all these Drakes, minute 30 before the final soul does spawn, is working well for their late game plans.
Right. I think the big thing to look forward to, I think, if you're an EGP fan right now, is the fact that they got into the river first. They're able to set up about a minute before drag. And let's look at Mia. We talked about how the hyper carry of Golden Guardians. Well, there's also a Jinx here. Actually, we're going to hold that thought.
Yeah, here comes Yukino. Oh, the Unbreakable stops the wall, so Yukino still has to walk back in. Doxa doing well, gets a good burst of damage, but Faisal caught out by the Cyclone. Concept holding the front line. Array trying to squeeze on out, goes on to Mia. The rockets firing back and forth. The kill acquired. Golden Guardians net 4 in the blink of an eye. And Mia heads for the hills. Golden Guardians teamfight win.
Maybe she gets away, but EGP ripped to shreds in that team fight by Golden Guardians. It all seemed like it was working out in their favor. Nice play from Hustlin, good kiting from Array is what gets Golden Guardians Academy a huge team fight win here. You can see it. It looks like Faisal's caught. No, actually, GGA is caught. But again, Hustlin, big unbreakable wall coming through here. Just delays Yukino getting into this team fight. And the big thing too is Mia goes into this fight, but isn't able to actually 1v1 with Array here. Red and white don't fight. Ain't no joke, Eric. And at that point, there's nothing left to fight for.
Golden Guardians, a big boom coming out for them as they take a 6K gold lead 23 minutes into this. And EGP, they're feeling the pressure. They're feeling the pressure right now off the reset that we have from Golden Guardians. EGP heads straight for that Drake to make sure Soul's not going to be acquired. Golden Guardians, they're sieging your mid lane and they have Baron. You got to do something fast if you're EGP.
Yeah, I think that tier 2 was always going to be under threat. Nothing that EGP could have done about it, so I think it's a big deal. They get this dragon for themselves. At least they get themselves time with that soul, and now it's about turtling up, Eric. If GGA give you an opportunity, you bite, but otherwise, you gotta stay away.
Dawnbray just gets outright punished. Concept grabbing that kill. Inhibitor exposed goes down as quickly as it was shown. Golden Guardians now rotating over towards this top side to continue the siege. Primary engage, again, down for EGP. So GGA, they have no problems continuing the siege.
Yeah, and they have all the tools they need to do so. Now they have super minions that will be pushing for the next 5 minutes, and that means they can commit pretty much everybody, all except Concept, who's moving up now to this top tier 3 turret. Another inhibitor could very well be under threat.
Dawnbray's back off the spawn. Engage available for EGP, but they're starting to get poked out low. So is GGA. Hustling running low. Mia's already excited. First kill acquired. Now gunning down onto Concept, who flashes away. Ablaze Oliver turns it onto Doxa, but Mia still popping off onto Array. Array, one more rocket away from falling. He goes golden, but it will delay the inevitable as he'll get shut down by Mia. EGP taking down the bot lane of GGA, able to defend, but their base is in shambles beatdown.
Okay, but that's not bad. GGA overstep a little bit with the Blaze Olive flashing in to try and get the flash charm, and we're going to see it here. Takes a good amount of turret damage, and with this wave being cleared out, you watch it. A lot of damage being taken in, a little bit of poke, and as soon as the opportunity comes, Dombre says, hold on a second, we got an angle. And at this point, it's just a matter of Mia getting excited, picking up 2 kills, and a shutdown at that. So this Jinx, who was already at 2 items before, is getting really close to that IE mega power spike, Eric. And Mia, at this point, is going to be Evil Genius Prodigy saving grace. If she can get excited in these team fights somehow, some way they can win.
And it's like one of those wrestling segments where you got a bunch of people in the ring, hit the music, Dombre just starts walking down the ramp and turns the fight completely around. Yeah, I mean, that counter engage was beautiful to keep EGP into this. But now EGP got to find a way to continue that momentum. And it's very tough when you have an inhibitor down, inhibitor exposed, and a gold deficit of 6K.
Yeah, it's not ideal, and I think the one who's feeling it the most as we see the gold here is probably Doxa. Down 3K to his lane opponent, hasn't even gotten to that second item just yet here. Hopefully we'll get it before the next dragon fight, because we're going to be back to that same old problem, Deserex.
Yep.
Infernal Soul about to come through for GGA if EGP don't find another miracle team fight.
Doxa now taking the recall, trying to shove in that top wave as much as possible before this dragon does spawn. Lane states are crucial for EGP to not lose out on more if they do contest this Drake, but look at the setup coming out from Golden Guardians. This is hard for EGP to find a way into this. They're trying to with Yukino, who's slowly working vision into that direction, but Golden Guardians, they are fighting very, very heavily to make sure that this jungle is lit up in their name.
Yeah, and I mean, when you're dealing with things like a Jax, Wukong, even a Braum, Ari, these are a lot of champions where face-checking them in darkness is not ideal. And that's why they're trying so hard to make sure this side of the map is dark. And it is, as we got that toggle earlier of vision. EGP have a lot to work through here. You can see it again. Thank you, observers, that. This is tough. EGP are going to have to walk into darkness if they want any hope of trying to win this game.
Now the final reset's coming out from Golden Guardians. 1 minute left before that dragon spawns. And a hard situation for EGP because, as you said, they're walking into darkness, so you don't know where Golden Guardians are. They don't know when the resets are coming in. They have a general idea around the dragon timer. Everyone needs to take a recall to get that final purchase for that fight. Now Golden Guardians are kind of fighting into that direction. You see some deeper and deeper vision being applied into their jungle. They haven't gotten it to the river yet, which is oh so crucial if they want this setup, if they want to deny the soul.
Yeah, and here's the big thing. They're giving Mia all this gold. She's so close to the infinity edge, but we're already closing on the window of recall time that you have before a major objective. And it's looking like Array will be the one to reach that power spike instead. You can see him. He's already walking his way through. And even without him, Golden Guardians still maintain control because of all the vision they had set up just minutes ago, Eric. So now, looks like you have an opportunity. Maybe take this mid turret. Oh!
Onto Dombre again, Golden Guardians! It's such a play for them to make to completely strip them of their own engage. And they'll continue to find more as they take down Yukino. And EGP are sent packing. Dragon Soul belongs to Golden Guardians.
And it's just picture perfect, Eric. You get the catch out on the Dombre concept TPs to save that tier 2. EGP get nothing for that. And a Blazed Olive again coming in clutch for Golden Guardians Academy as they secure that Dragon Soul. And you can see it. Clear difference in these team fights for EGP when Dombre gets charmed and caught out versus when he's able to make the play.
Yeah, always going for that primary engage because it neuters EGP.
Yep.
All you really have left is Doxa, and it's very dangerous to send Doxa in this current situation, especially alone into the type of damage that you're walking into with Golden Guardians. I mean, there's a Braum and Wukong waiting for you. They will crowd control lock you. Yeah. Golden Guardians starting up Baron.
Yeah, realistically, Arraign and Acadian alone could two-man this. It's going to be nice and easily taken down here. Golden Guardians get another objective, and Dombre looks like he's posturing, but posturing is all it's really going to be as this gold lead shoots up to 8K, well, actually 7K, in favor of Golden Guardians Academy. And we're at a point in the game here, 30 minutes, Baron buff and Infernal Soul. GGA just need one clean team fight, and we're looking at a 1-0.
They're going to walk it in right now. Starting in the top side onto Faisal with a combo of Cyclones. This teleport, I'm not sure about that one. Some delivery sent right over to the doorstep of Array. He'll grab that double kill. Now looking for the play is going to be EGP into the mid lane against the Blaze. All of Yukino will flash forward, looking to try and take him down. He'll get him into the seismic shove. Mia will secure 1 kill, but that's Mia and Donbray alone versus the entire squad of Golden Guardians.
Yes, and it's tough. Even though Mia was excited, has Ghost, she has no flash, and Donbray is certainly not long for this world. This could be it for Game 1. Golden Guardians, they're breaking down the Nexus turrets.
Knocking at the door, Golden Guardians, they're looking to make the bounce back after a rough season, starting it off in the play-ins, taking game number 1 of our series.
Wow, Eric. Honestly, with all the roster shakeups and things like that, that was a clean game from Golden Guardians Academy. You got to give them a lot of credit for that one, especially with not just these most recent roster shakeups. The fact that it's been happening all year long. We had a graphic board at the top of show and everything along those lines. And now showing us a game like this, it's pretty promising.
Yeah, I mean, I do want to give credit where credit is due, because EGP, they did play some of those early stages really well. When it came down to it, though, it felt like the map play really did belong to Golden Guardians, and I do credit a good amount of that to Acadian. Acadian has been good at playing towards his team with this Wukong. He was in the right place at the right time to make sure he was responding to what EGP were bringing. But yeah, overall, like, I really do like Acadian's play for this squad and how everyone else was able to follow up through it.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it seems honestly hustling. As far as I can tell, I feel like it seems like it's been a while since he's actually played, but this dude hasn't missed a beat. He was playing really well. Really nice unbreakable walls coming through.
Against
I know
the
one
Weaver's
with
wall.
Yukino stands.
Yeah,
you know, it's so dirty. Imagine being the Talia and you think like, oh yeah, like I'm coming in to save the day, gonna save my boy Faisal.
All right. Well, that's the case right now. Golden Guardians are taking game number 1. It is a best of 3 in the play-ins. These teams only have 1 life, so EGP fighting for their tournament lives. We're going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll have our guest, we'll have our host, we'll have some fun. Be sure to stay tuned.